All right, we are live. Thank you everyone for joining us today for our Beetle webinar. This is kicking off the school year in the United States and in Canada for us here. I'm Aaron Sweet. I'm a technology coach from upstate New York. I support a variety of technology in and out of the classroom. And I'm also an educational specialist with Beetle. And I've been with the team for 2 years now, supporting educators throughout the entire world, essentially. My focused area is the United States and Canada. And then I'm going to throw it over to Selvin, where he can introduce himself.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been a fantastic experience, during the last days, sharing the invitation with teachers from all over the world. And there is a lot of excitement because of the announcement of the new cohort of MI experts. And we have been inviting MI experts from all over the world, from Latin America, of course. And as Aaron said, I am Selvin Rivas, and I am the business development manager for Latin America. And we're working together as a team for supporting you in anything you need, for applying Beetle in your educational practices. So we're really glad to have you here. We're going to be sharing the recording as well, and some links that you're going to receive through the emails that you provided through the form that you used for registering. Thank you, and welcome everyone.
Yeah, awesome. We're going to jump through a few slides here, and then we're going to give you a live demo of Beetle. So this is our agenda for tonight. We're going to talk about the benefits of Beetle with teachers and with students, how we install Beetle. We do have a Beetle parent app, and that is a mobile app for parents so they can be connected with their child's education inside of Teams. We'll talk about all of those features and how they can stay connected. There's an awesome Learn certification that you can get on the new Microsoft Learn website. That was the MEC before, the Microsoft Educator. I forgot what the C was called, community maybe, but it's Learn now, so that's all good. And then of course you can book additional demo sessions with us. If you have other teachers that you know that would like to join and use Beetle, or just meet with us and help through the process of actually using Beetle in the classroom, we're always there for you. So Selvin and I will share those links as well. So what is Beetle? Beetle is an educational management application inside of Microsoft Teams, and we're exclusive to Microsoft Teams because as a group of educators that have created Beetle, we find that the apps inside of Teams weren't supporting all of the educators as needed. What features they were missing, Beetle has created those features, and they've injected those features throughout to really help our teachers and our students use Teams to the fullest. We also want to say too, we can use Beetle at any time if you are in a hybrid situation with your class, if you're in person, or if you're totally remote. You can absolutely use the app for all different situations. And like I mentioned before, Beetle is built by teachers, and it's for teachers, obviously, here. We really wanted to make this as simple as possible. So you'll see in our demonstration that when you're using Beetle, you'll notice that a lot of the buttons feel like you're already inside of Microsoft Teams application, not inside of Beetle. So it's a really nice, easy, and very intuitive app inside of Teams, and it's very easy to pick up with a very little training. We have a large global presence. We're almost in 90 countries in 9 different languages and over 700 schools. So that's where we're supporting different parts of the world, and we have a large and diverse team to help support that. And it's really cool to see all the different schools using Beetle and then how they teach. We have a cool little video here. So one of the features, and I'm going to pause the video here. One of the features inside of Beetle is what's called class lists, where you can actually create groupings of students, and then you can select students at random. Again, we'll be showing this throughout the demo, but this is a cool little video that we wanted to show everybody here. And the next thing is Beetle Journal, where you're able to share some student feedback with your students. And while you're sharing that feedback, you can also register attendance inside of Microsoft Teams. And registering some feedback is very easy. You select a student, you can click the Create New Comment button, and then you're entering your feedback. Both parents and students will receive this feedback. And of course, it's selective too if you wanted the parents to be included in the feedback, or if it's just private comment for you. Again, we'll be showing all of that. But some cool features that you don't see normally in Teams, we're bringing those features in with Beetle, really enhancing that and really bringing in some students' SEL features too, right? Social emotional learning. We're able to then give that feedback, and it's very targeted feedback for our students. So a lot of benefits for teachers. I'm not going to read all those points to you, but here at Beetle, we focus on three main ideas: the planning, the teaching, and the engagement of our students. The planning, we actually have something called Beetle Planning, where you can actually upload all of your resources, all of your student and class material, and then make it available to your students. This is really a great way to house all of your content, a little different than SharePoint, but this is very easy to use year after year. We also have the ability to inject Microsoft Teams assignments into this planning section as well. And when we're teaching, we can associate our learning objectives or our standards inside of all of our lesson materials, as well as attaching it to a calendar to keep everything organized and having Microsoft Teams assignments associated with all of that content in one nice, easy package. And how does this engage students? Students don't have to learn another tool. Beetle is a new tool inside of Teams, but we pick it up very easy, students and teachers. It's very, very intuitive, so our students understand how to use Beetle and are able to access material very, very easy and in a quicker manner because it's all in one space. They don't have to hop around Teams and look for material and class resources in different spaces. We're bringing it all in one spot, ready for everybody to use. So we talked about reusing our Teams assignments so we can use them year after year, and that's a really big plus. So we can have all of that content in one space along with the Teams assignments, and this is showing how easy it is to link an assignment into an existing plan. It's just 3 clicks, giving all of that assignment material all in one space. Very easy to access and to use. So how do we go ahead and install this? So we talked about a couple features and you want to start using it. You can install it right from the Teams marketplace, or the Teams App Store, excuse me. And when you add this to your classes, you will be prompted with a message saying it needs to be approved by your Office 365 admin. So reaching out to those admin and letting them know how to do that. We will send out some of that material, so you don't have to instruct them on how to do that. We will send some of that material out to you, and it actually is just a few easy clicks. If they've approved other apps and Teams before, they'll be able to approve that, and then you'll instantly have access to everything within inside of Beetle. We talked about the Beetle parent app as well too. There's a little video here showing some quick navigation. Some major points for our parents: they have instant access to Microsoft Teams assignments. So they get to see all of the details: when it's posted, when it's due, any student submitted work, and any feedback from the teacher as well. So that would include any verbal feedback where they're typing that in, or text feedback, and then also the grade. So we're able to see from start to finish all of that information inside of the app. Parents can also register attendance, so then it gets sent instantly to the school. And they can also see announcements from the school and from teachers. This is a great way also for any announcements that may need to be sent out to parents. So we don't have to use emails. We can use the quick, easy parent app where they'll get a quick notification. They can launch the app and they'll be able to see all of the information inside of our native app. If you have a chance to go out to some of these larger tech events, we've been at BET. which was over in London, ISTE, which is a large tech conference that jumps around throughout the United States. I believe next year is going to be in Philadelphia. It's right around the beginning of July. We were down in New Orleans this past year. And we were able to really visit a lot of people that were interested in Beetle, as well as other partners that will help spread the word of using Beetle. In Nicegate, I'm in upstate New York, in Rochester, New York, very close to the Canadian border. And Nicegate is a smaller tech conference that I go to every year, and we were actually able to represent Beetle there at the Microsoft booth, which was really cool because it's one I've been going to for almost the last 10 years. So it was a lot of fun to represent Beetle there. And some Beetle testimonials. We have a link that we can share in the chat. This is on our Beetle website, and then you'll be able to see all of the wonderful educators that have shared their experience using Beetle. I know Selvin knows some of these teachers pretty well through our MIE community. Anything that you want to share, Selvin?
Yes, these hard experiences that teachers from Latin America are sharing, within this incredible community. And here we have teacher Lister Garcia from Guatemala and his group of students from the CTB school from that country. And we're promoting these experiences through our social networks. And we have teachers from Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico, and some other countries that we're putting these experiences together to be promoted through our social networks for Latin America in different channels such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And this is great because these communities has started sharing these experiences and their testimonials with or among the community. So we are really encouraging teachers from these countries to start using Beetle at their schools and start sharing what they are doing with Beetle. And this is great because we're working on so many interesting things that we are going to, let's say, put the teachers on the spot from Latin America. And this is something very, very special for us. Yes, here we have teacher Cesar from Ecuador, teacher Walberto, Laura from Mexico, teacher Raul from El Salvador, teacher Lister from Guatemala, and teacher Janet from Ecuador as well. And we have some other school leaders as well, right, Aaron, that have shared their experiences and thoughts about what Beetle has offered for transforming their educational practices, not only in the classroom but also outside of the classrooms. So I have shared the link that will take you to the website where you will be able to read all the testimonials we have and customer experiences as well.
Like we mentioned before, Microsoft Learn, that's the new platform for all of the Microsoft courses that they've offered before at the MEC. Now we have the link that Selvin's going to drop inside the chat. Check that course out. It's a great way to check out all the different features, learn how to use Beetle in the classroom, and then of course there's a quick little assessment at the end where you get a cool certificate. Selvin shared his, and then you can hang that up on your classroom wall or at home and show that you now know how to use Beetle inside of Microsoft Teams.
And that's right, Aaron. And what is great to mention is that you don't only have the opportunity to take that course on Microsoft Learn, get your certificate, and become like a specialist on using Beetle in education. The Beetle team is also working on having a special course on the website, on the Beetle website, for you to have these courses in English and Spanish, and the near future in different languages as well. So this is a great opportunity because you take this course on Microsoft Learn and you get your certificate that gives you the credentials that you are a specialist on using Beetle in education.
And then you have the opportunity to book additional demos with Selvin and myself. feel free to use those links to schedule a time that best suits you. And we really want to sit down with individual teachers, groups of teachers, or we can present to a whole entire school. Whatever best fits you and your students and the educators around you, let us know, book a time, and then we'd love to cater that demo and those conversations with you that best suits your school and how Beetle can fit in your classroom.
And some other languages that are available for you to book a section, even if this is an individual section, an individual demo section, or a collective section for demonstrating what Beetle can do, to your colleagues. You can book a section, and you can also request if English or Spanish is not the language. At your school, we can offer some other languages for having the demo session. So do not worry about this, because we're available in English and Spanish and some other languages as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And so at this point, we're going to stop the slideshow. We're going to jump into a live demo. And while I do this, please feel free to, if you have any questions, come off of mute. You can ask those questions. You can drop them in the chat. I'm going to show the demo, so I may not be seeing the chat while I'm showing. So Selvin can answer some of your questions, or if you feel like you want to, hop off of mute and let us know what your thoughts are. And if you need anything clarified, we'd love to help you out here. Oops, I'm going to share just the window, make it a little bit easier to see here. There we go. All right, so we are inside of Microsoft Teams Online. I have Beetle installed in my team called Algebra. I'm a former math teacher, so I always like to show some math examples here. We have 3 different modules that you can download and add to a class. We have Beetle Planning, Beetle Class List, and Beetle Assessment. These are the ones that you can use with your students. And then there's an additional 4th one called Beetle Objectives that you can use in a different team, a PLC or a staff team. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll go over these 3 in a class team that you can use with your students. The first one is going to be Beetle Planning. This is the one that we mentioned before, where you're organizing and distributing your classroom content. So you can see here that I have some content being shown on the right-hand side. So this is what students will see when they jump into Beetle Planning. They'll see any lessons and units on the left-hand side, however you want to organize your content. So for me as a math teacher, I have my 1 unit of graphing linear equations, and then I have all of my lessons that would be nested underneath or inside of that unit. And then within each of these lessons are going to be all of my resources, Microsoft Teams assignments, anything associated with this lesson that I'm going to be teaching with my students. It's going to be housed in this space right here. Very easy to navigate. So you'll notice at the top here, it says Intro to Graphing Linear Equations. That's the name of the lesson. And then in this box here are any teacher notes. So this is teacher facing. Students don't see this at all on their view. And these are any notes that I would want to help me facilitate this lesson. Anything that I want to remember to tell my students, maybe the flow of the lesson, when to use specific resources or what to share with my students. So this is here for me to help guide myself through a lesson. And then I have all of my lesson files. So I know some of you are using SharePoint, some use OneNote. This is our solution of bringing all of those ways to organize all of the resources, files, websites, anything that you're going to share and use as a teaching material, you can put in this space here. So I have a PowerPoint here, and this does show a preview of what the PowerPoint is. So as a student, I could click on this PowerPoint and I can advance these slides and I could read this slide. Or if you wanted to show specific slides to your students, of course, you could share your screen like I'm doing here and go through each of these slides. So as PowerPoint, we've got Word documents. Those are also shown as a preview here. And Excel spreadsheets are also shown as a preview, and I believe PDFs are too. Really great because students don't have to open them up as a separate file. They're shown here in this space, and whatever content and information you want to give to your students is available to them. This space is read-only. If you want students to edit these files, you would probably want to make them as Teams assignments. But as of right now, so like a PowerPoint or a document like this, they could view this and interact with it in a Teams assignment if needed. Are there templates for planning? Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that. So how do I add these files here? I click Add File, and you can add a new document very similar to a OneDrive or SharePoint. You can add links, or you can add a template. Stella, this is for you here, where you are using a, let's say, a Word document for a lesson plan, or maybe an agenda, or a weekly calendar that you're filling in and you're always sharing with your students. You can create these templates, and then when you add a template to your Beetle plan, then you can go ahead and edit that template to customize it specifically for that lesson. So just like how you would normally create a template, you create in Word or PowerPoint, wherever that might be. You don't want to fill in anything specific for each lesson, but you may want to have a date section or an area for your learning objective or any other activities. You would add it to this plan, and then you'll be able to edit it for this specific lesson. And then you could share it with your students if you want. Or if you don't want to share this with your students, if it's just maybe a lesson plan for yourself, if you hit these three dots on any file, you can hide this from students. So I'm hiding a file here, and you'll easily tell that a file is hidden with that I with a line through it. So this is great for maybe a teaching template that students don't need to see. You can hide that. Or if you want to make it visible, clicking the three dots, make visible, and then you can confirm. If you are using OneNote, OneNote is a great tool. Absolutely. You can grab a page link. So if you right click on a page, you can copy that link. You can add it as a link into the plan. So you drop the URL in there, any text you want to display. And then when you click on a link, it's going to launch a tab right inside the same browser there. And then students will be able to start editing this page. Or if they navigate to their own, they'll be able to navigate and edit to that page. So you can use OneNote. You can use websites as well too. So if this is a math lesson, I use the Desmos calculator. This will launch inside the browser as well. Closing this out brings me right back to Beetle Planning. So this is the resource section. So again, you can add any type of file. If it's a new file, you can upload a file if you have it saved in your OneDrive or locally on your computer. You have a variety of resources that you can put right inside of this lesson, making that accessible to students. Now that's only one great part of Beetle Planning, because you deliver and create all of that material on a daily basis. Now, what happens if you have a Teams assignment that's associated with your content? Normally, you direct your students to the assignment section, and then they'll find that assignment in a list of assignments. We have created a section called Assignments here in this Assignments tab, showing that we have assignments associated with this lesson. We can then take any Teams assignment. We're not creating new assignments here called Beetle assignments. These are Teams assignments. We're just linking them into Beetle Planning, making it an easier area for everybody, teachers and students, to easily see the content. Okay, I'm graphing linear equations here, and then I can jump back to the assignment. As a teacher, if you've created an assignment in Teams already, you can click the Link Existing Assignment button, find whether if it's in drafts, if it's assigned, or if it's been a returned assignment you're reusing. You can easily select it, and then you can link assignments, and then that assignment will be linked to this plan, just like that. Now my students can go into this section, and then they can easily click on one of these assignments, and this will navigate them back to the assignment section. Obviously, my view is going to be a little different than students, but they will go right to that assignment. Going back to Beetle Planning, I can see those assignments again, and if there's a second assignment, it will be associated with all of those plans. And if I didn't want that one, I can go ahead and I can unlink, and then that assignment would not be associated with my plan anymore. If you don't have an assignment created already, you can go ahead and click Create New Assignment, and then you can create a brand new one with all of the options from Microsoft Teams assignment section. You can create that assignment, and then it would be added to the list, or you can copy from an existing team. So this is preventing you from creating the same assignment multiple times. You're just going to copy it from another team. Selecting a team, finding one of those assignments, and then you can click Create, and it'll be added to the list of assignments, or just that one assignment for that plan. How cool is that? Now we've got Teams assignments and all of the content in one space. Your students don't have to go to the assignment list and then they wouldn't know what content is associated with it. It's all wrapped in together. And that's even better because we have objectives in there as well. So we have a set of objectives or standards that we have to teach. And so we want to ensure that we're teaching all of those. So with Beetle objectives, that's going to be in another team that you're going to prepare all of these objectives or standards. And then you can link them, just like I did with a Teams assignment, I can link them to a plan to show which content standard I'm actually teaching here with this lesson. Easily link objectives. I can then select from a specific framework, select the objective, and then I can link it, and then it'll be shown inside my objective section. If I don't want it, I can of course unlink it, and then it will go away. Simple enough. I have all of my objectives, assignments, and resources all within one space. And then how do we organize all this? We want to put it all on a calendar as well too. When am I going to teach this lesson? So putting it on a calendar, I can then edit or add an additional date. So this assignment and class resources was available today. I taught this lesson at 9 a.m. I can add an additional date if I needed to reteach this lesson or revisit the content again. And it'll be added to the Beetle calendar that's inside of Teams, organizing all of the lessons all in one calendar. What does that calendar look like? I can click the calendar here. And if I scroll up here, you can see that I have 2 lessons. I can tell that they're lessons by the icon here in the top left-hand corner. It says plans or lessons here is that icon. And then you can see the most exciting part is the pizza party on Friday. So my students are going to be very excited about an event. That's the star here that we see. An event that's on the calendar. And they'll know what is happening inside of my class. So this is just my class here. Students can visit the calendar that will and then include all of their classes so they can see the entire schedule for the day when all of their teachers are using Beetle and scheduling everything within the calendar. Differentiation through small grouping assessments. So if you're talking, Stella, if you're talking about assessments, I know that the Teams assignment allows you to do that. If you go into the assignments, you can actually group specific students together. So instead of assigning one assignment for the entire class, you can assign it to groups of students. That would be done in the Teams assignment section. This wouldn't be done inside of Beetle. So Teams have already developed that, and you could use that feature. I hope I answer your question that way. So you would assign separate assignments to specific groups that you would identify to differentiate that type of assessment. And if I didn't answer your question, let me know. Throw it in the chat or come off of mute. And then one other thing that you may notice as well too, on the left-hand side where I have all of my lessons here or my plans, I have these green dots. These green dots show that I have published this lesson or plan to my students. So if I toggle that off, that means my students cannot see this lesson. So maybe this is a lesson I'm still continuing to work on. If I toggle that on, I'll then be able to publish this and make it available to my students. You can see here that this third lesson I haven't published, and then the rest of these units and lessons I have not made available. So my students can't see them, but as I continue to work on those plans, I'll then be able to publish them when it's appropriate for my students to see it. So any questions or anything about Beetle Planning? We talked about adding resources, tagging assignments and linking them to all of our content, organizing our objectives so we know what we're teaching. We can add this to our calendar, and then of course we can publish this to our students when they're ready to see it. Ooh, before you ask a question here, I want to throw one more thing out. Once you have your entire content created, because that's what you're going to do with Beetle, you're going to load all of your content, all of your resources, all of your team's assignments, your objectives, everything is this nice package. Let's say your school year is over with and now you want to reuse everything. I can easily click these three dots. Now when I click these three dots here, it's for this entire set of plans. When I click these three dots, I can copy plans to a team. So once a team is archived, or if it's still available, either way, you'll still be able to copy these plans over to a team. I can then select, I'm going to select an archive team here. So I can select this team. I want it to go to my general channel. And you'll notice here that plans with resources by default is selected. So all of the files, all of the links that I associated with this plan will stay connected. I can also keep the objectives and all my assignments. If I don't want those, of course, you can uncheck those. But once I have all of these created in one team, for every year I can copy these over to another team. I click Start Copy, and now everything inside of this nested plan is going to be copied over, and they're going to be ready to be used for the next school year. If you have multiple teams also, so if I had another algebra secondary team, I could also copy this over and use it instantly with my students that day or whenever you're going to be teaching those lessons. Selvin, do we have any other questions over there?
Yeah, Teacher Lister Garcia is asking if assignments are available on the planning section. Is that what you'd like to ask, Mr. Garcia?
So if they're available now, yes. Once you get Beetle approved by your Office 365 admin, everything that I'm showing you here will be automatically included with Beetle Planning. Also, if there's any other questions, again, please share those. I'm going to show a couple more features and then we'll move on to another section of Beetle. One other feature I want to show you is reorganizing our lessons here. So if I wanted to change the order of these, I can just easily drag and drop and change the order. If I want to drag this to the top, I could easily do that as well. So organizing these is a really easy way. I could also say that I want this one to be at the very bottom. I can then make that at the bottom as well. When you add Beetle Planning for the first time, this school year is already created for you. It's going to show a semester 1 and week 1 and then have the days of the week underneath. If you don't want this, you can easily hit the 3 dots and delete it. And if you do want to keep it, feel free. You can go ahead and then customize it however you'd like. Selvin, anything else you want to share about Beetle Planning before we move to class list?
Yeah, actually, I would like to share the experience of teachers in Latin America, for example, that are using Beetle Planning. We know that not many teachers in the region are using Onenote, but this is a great opportunity for them to integrate Onenote or the different templates that are available for integrated into Beetle Planning. You can reuse your lesson plans. You can also share your lesson plans. You can decide if they are going to be visible for your students or not. And it offers a very friendly environment for, let's say, managing all the planning let's say, products you have here, you can order them and reorder them as you wish. And it offers this possibility, within a very friendly environment. Like Aaron said, you can also create documents from this section. I mean, you can create Word documents, PowerPoint as well, and spreadsheets. Yes, thank you. You can also link. You can upload documents. Many teachers have a great collection of documents in different formats, and you can just upload them from your computer and make them available from your students from the Beetle Planning section.
Thanks, Selvin. If there's any other questions, please let us know. I can always come back to the planning section. We're going to show class lists now. And this is something that we mentioned earlier about class lists, where you can share student feedback and you can also make student groups. So I know a lot of educators, and in my role at a local school district, I see a lot of our teachers use websites that will do something just like this. So we're creating student groups. You maybe have a project coming up, or you want students to maybe rotate around the classroom in different groups. So instead of you creating these groups, you can have Beetle create them for you. You have two different options. You can select number of groups or students per group. I'm going to select number of groups, and let's say I want 5 groups here. You can enter the number here, or you can slide this back and forth. I simply click the shuffle button, and now I have 5 groups created. If I don't like this grouping, maybe I don't like certain students together, I can go ahead and click shuffle again. It'll reshuffle these groups. Maybe I find a grouping that I like, but maybe these 2 students, Alex and Delbert, shouldn't be together. So I can drag Alex over here and maybe swap with Alfonso to make these groups even now. If somebody is absent, maybe Wiley is absent and Sherry is absent and Susanna is absent. I have all of those students. I can then reshuffle my groups, and you'll notice when I reshuffle my students in the absent area, they don't move into those groups. So then I can share these groupings with my students. Pretty nice. And when I have these groupings already created, I have a couple different options. You can share your screen like you see here, or you can export these as a Word and Excel spreadsheet. You can also print them as a PDF, or actually print them as a hard copy on paper and share that with your students as well. So a lot of different ways that you can create groups and share them with your students. Again, these are editable. Obviously, when you're downloading them, it becomes your local copy. So you can then customize those groupings, maybe rename the groupings if you'd like. Once I have all these students grouped together, I can use a student picker, or I could just click reset, have a list of all my students, and then I click my student picker here. So if I wanted to pick students at random, or I know my daughter's in kindergarten, they assign different jobs for them. So maybe I want to click this 3 times, and then Young is going to be our line leader for today to walk us down to the cafeteria. So we have different ways that you could utilize this student picker. It can be part of groups. You can also pick students when they're in groups, or as an entire group of students here. Now your students are going to show here either by you adding them to the team, or if you're using SDS, that's the school data sync. So that's going to then sync whatever database you have of your students into Teams, and then all of your students' rosters will come through here in Beetle as they would for all of your other teams. In this area too, you can also start a class meeting. Clicking that will instantly create a class meeting with some details that you can drop into here, and then you'll be all set to start that meeting with your students as well. So that's creating class groups. This is creating a feedback chain for your students. So I know some teachers have used chat in the past, but you've also used email, or they're giving other ways of feedback to their students. This is a great way to keep all of your feedback organized. You can share it with parents, You can share it with your students' teachers. So all the other teachers that they have as well too, they'll be able to see your feedback. There's a lot of other features that I'm going to show you too of why this feedback section of Class List is really, really awesome. So I'm inside of Journal here, and let's say I want to give my daughter, Adele, I want to give her a comment. I'm going to click Create New Comment, and then I'm going to type in thanks for participating today. I want to add an emoji in there as well. And I'm going to share this with her class teachers to show that Adele was participating in my class today. I also want to include Adele and her parents on this feedback as well, because I want them to know what I'm saying to their child. And I can also include a tag in here as well. So I'm going to say this is feedback, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save. This is going to then send this feedback directly to Adele. She'll get a notification in the top left-hand corner, and I can see all of this feedback that I have sent her before. Now, if there is something that you want to add, maybe a private comment, you can toggle both of these off and use the Beetle Journal as a way to keep notes on a student as well. Those will only be your private notes and no one else can see those. You can also export any of these comments as well, which is a great way to have another copy of them. Or you can filter, and I can actually search for specific tabs or tags as well. So if I've tagged any comments, then of course I can look for feedback and see all of the feedback that I've given Adele, and I've used that tag in those comments. I can click all students, of course, and I can see all of those comments that I have given all of my students. A great way to consistently give feedback and a way for me to keep on top of feedback for all of my students as well. Beetle also has an attendance feature. So let's say I'm going to register attendance and say that these two students were not here. So I'm going to register, say that all of these students were here, and click Save. All of those details of me, I'm Arden here in my team. I've registered that attendance, time, and date. I can then say that maybe Adele was absent to my class. This was maybe authorized, and she had a doctor's note. So I know that her mom gave us a doctor's note. She was all set, and that comment stays there. I'm going to say that Alex was late to my class. And when he's late, I can actually say it was unauthorized and he was late by 5 minutes and he was maybe talking outside of my class. That was the reason he was late. I can go ahead and click Save, and then I have those notes there as well. So great way to take attendance all in this space. No need to go to another website or another application. Everything is all saved inside of Teams for you. And the last section I'm going to show you here is Connect. This is where I, as the teacher, can send notifications or announcements or notes out to parents. So this is a really great way to maybe let parents know there's a pizza party coming up that we're going to celebrate for the start of the school year. Or we're going to invite parents into the school and say we're going to have an open house where you can then come and visit our classroom and we can meet and talk. It'd be a great way to send notifications for the entire class. So this isn't for individual students, that would be the feedback. In Journal, this is where we're sending a whole class announcements, and then the parents will get a notification on their phone and the Beetle Parent app. Really great way for them to stay in the loop, understanding what's happening in class and in the entire school. And then, of course, if I click Calendar, that's that calendar that we saw before for just this class. Our Beetle assessment. This is the last section that you will have inside of a class team. And essentially, this is a grade book. And this is different than the Teams gradebook that you see with just assignments. This is where you can actually create your own columns. So this could be for class participation, maybe a test that wasn't inside of Teams, or you were assessing students against a specific learning objective. You have all of those options here. So you'll notice in this one column, I can grade numerically, I can grade with letters, or I can grade with specific standards or objectives. And this was one of the objectives that I had tagged in a lesson. So I could assess my students on how well they know that objective, and understand that there's a function as a rule for math. And then I can come back here and I could adjust these. Maybe Adele doesn't need improvement anymore and she's approaching. You can also change these phrases on whatever that you grade your students or want to give feedback to your students. Those are all very flexible inside of Beetle objectives. You can calculate all of these columns too, so I can see my average or the total points depending on how you are grading your students. And that calculates for all those different columns, your numeric, your letter grades, or these phrases that are associated with your objective. So adding a new column, I can do an ad hoc column. That's going to be my numeric or the text that I showed before. Or I can grade assessment against objective. And these are all the different frameworks that I have access to. So if I'm grading with algebra, I could select this one and then I can add, and then this would be added as a column for me to assess my students. Hopefully you're enjoying this and saying, wow, like I really need to get Beetle because it brings everything all into one space. You have your content, you have different ways to send feedback to your students, you have ways to assess your students with this flexible gradebook. There's a lot of different ways that you could use Beetle inside of your classroom. Selvin, I'm going to throw it to you for a second while I show the parent app to end our little demo here.
Yes, thank you very much, Aaron. What many teachers love about the Beetle class list is that you can group students. This can be small groups or for having an activity where students are going to work in pairs, for example. And it is not the teacher, the one that is going to set the groups or set the students that are going to work together. Also, Beetle can help you with this, and it helps teachers optimize, the class time. Sometimes students don't like the teachers, set the groups or the students that are going to work on a specific task. So Beetle can be in charge of that. Also, if there is an issue with some students, like Aaron said, or students working together in pairs or in small groups, you can, let's say, shuffle. You have a shuffle button there, and it reorganizes the groups from your class as well. And you can also drag the students to the place you consider it's going to be suitable for the work they are going to be doing. Also, talking about the attendance, this is great, and we know that many teachers, actually that is the first action they take when they start a class. And I have seen some teachers that it takes for them like 5 to 10 minutes to take the attendance, and thanks to Beetle inside Microsoft Teams, you can do it just with by clicking a box, selecting all the group and say that everyone is present. If you have to modify something, for example, if there is a student that is absent, you can easily change the status of the attendance for that student. And Aaron is going to show the Parent app, because everything that it's, let's say, performed inside Beetle is going to be directed to the Parent app for them to be updated and informed about their students, the students' progress, or any update or feedback or any comment that the teacher shares with the parents as well. And these comments or progress or feedback also can be shared with the teachers that work with the same students.
Stella, I love the phrasing of your comment there. It optimizes time. Absolutely. And that, Selvin mentioned that too. This is a time saver. You're organizing your content, then you can easily reuse it. You've got Teams assignments already associated with it. All of those teaching processes are all in Teams. You don't have to leave the Teams environment. We're bringing all of that stuff in. So if there is anything else that you're finding that you have to leave Teams for, let us know. Maybe that's a feature that we can toss into Beetle and help support you in your class. So I am going to show you the Beetle app. This is available for iOS and Android devices. So essentially all parents would be able to download this app and have access to their child's information in their class. So what do they have access to? When they open up the app, they're going to see this quick view of a calendar. So as a parent, I can see that there's an assignment due in geometry for Adele. Adele is my daughter again. I can see Wednesday that algebra teacher has registered attendance and has also assigned an assignment too. And I have all of these in this calendar list. I can see that there's a pizza party event going on, and all of these icons are showing me that there's something else that we have listed inside of this calendar. We have assignments, we have events, we've registered attendance. So parents are being notified of what is happening inside the classroom with assignments, events, attendance, all in this nice little list here. Once they go and navigate to, I'm going to jump to assignments, which is the section in the middle there since we're talking about assignments. I love this section. It's broken down really nice for parents, where at the top you can see all the assigned assignments, anything that's been handed in, and anything that's been returned and have given grade or feedback from the teacher. So what do these assignments look like? So if I was to go ahead and tap into one of these assignments, I have all of those Teams assignment details in this window here. We've got the title, the description, any tags. That's a Flipgrid assignment. So as a parent, I know that my child will be using Flipgrid, the description, and then any supporting documents. So parents can see those supporting documents as well, so they can help their child at home. I can click on work and result, but I know that this was only assigned and my child hasn't submitted anything yet. So that's going to be blank. But if I go over to the handed in section, I can see that my child has handed in an assignment for geometry. I can tap on that Word document, it'll download to my phone, and I can view that assignment. So I can have those conversations with my child and say, hey, I saw that you submitted this assignment. I remember that when I was in school, or how could I help you? It really opens up those conversations between parents and the students, allowing them to really be part of the learning in and out of that classroom. And then the last one is really awesome too. This is what's been returned. Again, I can see what my child has submitted, but I can also see the score that she received and the teacher's comments as well. So this is really great. So if the score was low or high, whatever that might be, I'll be able to really support my child in all of that feedback that that the teachers are sending. The connect feature is what we talked about with announcements. So that pizza party, or there's a Minecraft show. What's that? If I tap that, I can get details about what a Minecraft show is at the school. Oh, and my phone has been doing some funky things, so I apologize if it's going to freeze up here. I thought I was going to be okay. There we go. I get the announcement at the top. Ooh. You able to see that? I can see it on my phone. There we go. There's the announcement at the top, and then the details to that announcement as well. And then the journal, anytime a teacher submits a journal comment, the parent, if they toggle that on for the students and parents to see, I can actually see that comment as well. I can also see the tag that teacher used, so I know how that's being organized, if that means anything. But all that information that the teacher puts in is available for those parents to see. So we've got assignments, we have all of the journal entries and announcements, and then if I go over to attendance, I can see what's been registered for my child, as well as registering attendance for my child. If your school is thinking about using that, they can click the register button. The parents can then talk about if it's a half day, full day, whatever it might be, and then give some information to the school as to why my child is going to be absent that day. So again, nice, quick, easy way for parents to register that attendance so that the teachers and the entire school, any school officials, will know about the absence of those students. In the last section here, any type of a notification that comes through, I can then see everything that comes in and hits my phone. I'll get a push notification, but I can also look at this area as well. So the upcoming section is really great. It organizes all of that. And we're noticing that a lot of parents are drifting towards that assignment section as well too, so they can easily support their children. And of course, what's going on in school, I've got announcements there and all my journal entries, all within one app, really bringing a lot of that Teams activity that we're seeing in the app for teachers and students. It's being brought right into the parents as well too, so they can see a lot of that activity and understand what's happening, increasing that communication between the school, parents, and students all together. That's it for me showing the parent app. I see that we have a question in here. Any rubrics, links to standards? I don't think we have a solution for that, Selvin, do we? Any rubrics that are linked to standards?
No, not yet. But I wanted to mention that the Beetle team is working on, listening to all the comments that arrive from teachers from all over the world. Actually, everything that Aaron has just performed during the session has been, created thanks to teachers, because Beetle has been created for teachers, by teachers, for teachers. And all the comments and suggestions, and based on the needs you have, the Beetle team, the developers, from the Beetle team listen to your requests, and they are going to work on that to see if it's possible. Maybe the updates will not come immediately, but they will analyze, it's like a process for analyzing if some of the features that Beetle can perform are, let's say, possible to integrate into Beetle. Now, there is something special about evaluations, for example, which are integrated with evaluations in Microsoft Teams. They are integrated once you create an assignment in Microsoft Teams. It's integrated into Beetle and vice versa. But other functions are not integrated yet, but they will eventually come out.
Stella, I'll add that request to our features, our feature requests there, and I think that, like Sullivan was saying, that's a great addition to those objectives. So you can easily assess the students, and then having that link to assessments to that grade book, that's a cool connection there as well. So really bringing all of those tools linked together, so you're only doing that work once and then it's being distributed out. I like that idea. We'll toss that to our developers and we'll let you know what happens. So at this point, we've showed you the Beetle app in Microsoft Teams, saving you time, organizing your content, increasing communication with your students. Hopefully you saw a lot of value in that, really making Teams really the ultimate LMS, that learning management system that a lot of people are looking for Teams to be used as. We're injecting those additional features. And then having that parent app as well too, really being able to bring those parents into the conversation of what's happening in class and really helping them talk to their students and their children at home about their work. And we really want what's best for our students, so we want to really be able to support that as best we can.